Hello boys and girls, my name is White Rhino PSO, and today we are playing more Bustories. Let me just step out of the bathroom here and change up the music and get back on the bus to see what's coming next. So that might have only been 3 stops because you start on the bus itself, so I might have 5 more people to talk to, come to think of it. 8-bit. I thought it was OBT. Alright, I think this guy's new. Hi! Hey man! Where are you from? I'm from Summer Garden. My parents moved there when I was 6. I spent my childhood there. Soon after we moved, my father's car was stolen. Okay. Later we got a call from the police, and we went to pick up the car from them. In the music player we found a cassette of some kind of a punk band. The thief left it, whoever he was. We drove home with a huge anarchy sign on the hood, painted with a paint spray, and screaming music. It was one of my first music cassettes, and I listened to it a million times. We would often listen to it with my friends, drinking beer on a roof of an abandoned building while watching the sunset. Let me check something real quick, and we are good. Then we joked and told funny stories. School sucks, but sometimes it's nice to remember those days. At school, I was one of the best. Not because I was so smart. I would always speak very confident and calm. Well, the most important thing is improvisation. If I forgot something, I would often start telling something that no one would check, but it sounds quite true. I would never understand people who did not study, but they would study very hard before an exam. It is senseless, isn't it? If you studied all the time, you do not need to prepare. And if you have never studied, then now try to do it is useless. Very odd English. I remember the story of one guy from our class. He was absolutely weird. So weird that when he was at 1st grade, he cut teacher's coat with scissors because of a bad mark. His name was Victor. Well, he was mad. Not a single fight could do without him. He was involved in all possible and impossible problems. I do not understand why such students are not expelled and how remained for so long at our school. He had a huge angry dog. I am bad at breeds, I cannot tell you what it was. He had a habit of stealing tennis balls after PE classes for his dog. How many tennis balls did the dog go through? There were many of those balls, so at first no one noticed it. The school was well-to-do, and there were all kinds of balls, skipping ropes, nets, hoops, and all kinds of equipment, so it was not so easy to notice the loss. 6 months later, when there were no balls left, the PE teacher gave us a lecture for the whole lesson, telling us what terrible bastards and idiots we were. Jesus Christ. PE teacher was a restrained man, but in such cases he would yell at us and promise to find a thief and deal with him. The next day, all the windows in his house were broken. Christ. There was another case, also connected to Victor. We often skipped classes. It was almost impossible to walk around in the schoolyard since teachers could notice us. So I guess it was we. We had to go outside school territory. Through the gate, it was extremely difficult to do because there was a security guard, so we climbed over the fence. The fence was 2 meters high, and on its top there were sharp peaks, so that's, 6 feet, I suppose isn't that tall of a fence. We often climbed over this fence with the help of a nearby tree. I do not know what kind of tree it was, I hate botany, but that tree was very tall. So we climbed the fence. Victor could not climb the tree, so he decided to climb over the fence. Now, for a guy that's improvisation, he can't really come up with a tree name or a breed name. Also, when I put the pointer over his shirt, it kind of looks like a Star Trek symbol. Victor could not climb the tree, so he decided to climb over the fence. It was stupid of him. Once again, I'm convinced that he was completely out of mind. So that's it. We successfully climbed over the fence with the help of a tree, and Victor successfully climbed over the fence. At least we thought so at first sight. When we got to the city street, we noticed that something was dripping from his hand. As it turned out, he punched his hand through and even did not notice it. Oh, he punctured his hand on one of the spikes on top. The peak passed straight through, not touching the nerve endings, and this ghoul did not feel anything. Damn, he had a damn hole in his hand. You could put your finger into it. When we saw what happened to his hand, he just fainted and hit his head when he saw. We had to drag him to the nearest hospital. The nearest hospital was a few kilometers away, and it took us a long time to get there, especially a pig like him. More and more blood was licking, and after a while, there was a bloody trail behind us. This guy's story is fantastic. We thought that he would die of blood loss, but everything turned out fine. We carried him to the hospital. After that, we had to report to the director and parents. Since then, we would not skip school too often, but a couple of years later, Victor died of malaria. Back in school, I understood the whole romance of these fat jokes. There I first started to get people out of temper. You know, I'm not being mean, and I really like laughing with the victims. But most of all, I like people who try to pinch me. I do not want to show off, but I've become quite good at it. Therefore, I like to turn jokes of other people against them. For example, once there was an interesting story at the same school. That time I played rugby, and by coincidence, there was a guy from my team in my class. One day during a Spanish lesson, I went to the restroom. My friend, a rugby player, came after me. But before saying hello to him, I heard the door slam behind him, and I could hear our classmates laughing. They did not know that he was not alone. They did not know that I was there. He tried to get out, but they held the door. Next, we looked at each other. After that, without even thinking, we stood with him in a low bar, and we were pushing the door, and it moved. But not as we expected. There was a crunch, a squeak, and a sound of crumbling plaster. The door came out of the wall together with the frame and hinges. We instantly realized what had to be done. In a second, we were no longer there. Our classmates stood holding the door, horrified and realizing what was going on. There is an interesting company of people at the bus stop. I think I know where I'm going. See you later. Alright, that was a pretty interesting story. I was half expecting to find out that the entire thing was a lie, one of his improvisation stories. Alright, let me pound some food in my gob. And drink myself silly. Alright, cupcake, a gigantic wedge of cheese, and I do enjoy the pizza. I know that the fountain drinks kind of suck, so I'll go for another can. And drop the kids off at the pool. And I'm not sure I'm a big fan of that previous song. Like, it was interesting, but kind of too upbeat. Oh, hello, sir. What music do you like? Well, maybe this song, but this is now a kind of creepy, dark sort of song, which kind of fits you. Frankly speaking, I do not care. Then why did you ask? I am going to the last concert of the rock band Vegetables. I've dreamed about it since high school. I love punk rock. I used to work as a policeman. You'd never say. I'd like to tell you a story while we are getting there, so a trip won't be a bore. All kinds of stuff have happened to me. Terrible murders, mysterious robberies, horrible fraud and corruption. As you know, when you fight a dragon, you become a kind of dragon yourself. I've never heard that phrase, sir. I would not want to talk about this, since this is one of the reasons that I quitted. But there were quite interesting and funny stories about my service. One day we were summoned by a man. He said that the case was urgent and he did not know whom to ask for help. We left, and in a short time were already there. The door was opened by an extremely worried man who immediately led us inside the house. I began to look around but did not notice any traces of struggle or breaking in. He greeted us. The situation was that the man had problems with his intestine and needed to take medicines twice a day. Suppository. That is, through the ass. Oh, thank you, sir. In taking the medicine, his wife usually helped him. It turned out that he quarreled with his wife, because of nothing, something like not throwing away trash. After the quarrel, his wife pretended that everything was in order when he asked her to help with his... and just laughter. With his medicine. Right after that, she left the house. The man took a nap. He thought that she went to the store and would be back soon. After he got up, his wife was still gone. He got up and went to the kitchen and saw a tube of glue at the usual place next to his medicine. At that thought, it seemed strange to him, but he did not pay much attention to it. After a while, he wanted to go to the toilet. Okay, now I get it. I thought he was calling the police so that they would help put the pill in his ass. No, it's because his wife glued his asshole shut. It was a normal reaction to the medicine, but this time he could not do it, and then he realized what had happened. This woman, he almost cursed, sealed up my ass. Help me, guys, I want to shit, he said. Tears appeared in his eyes. Of course, we took him to the hospital. Behind the door into the doctor's office, we heard his cry. I did not even want to think what he felt. So working in the police sometimes is fun and full of neat stories. I'm getting out at the bus stop, otherwise I have an appetite because of these memories. Aw, looks like you're a cool dude. If you pass near the Clover Hill City, drop by. Write down my number, 0683. You know, I haven't heard any mention of this game having puzzles of that sort, but I feel like I should write that down anyway. 4, 5... Well, 93? Aw, I don't remember it. Great. Forget, whatever. Just ask where the weird punk lives. I think everyone will get it once whom you talk about. Good luck, bro. I'm down to 184 money. I've already spent over 116 bucks. Just for food. How much food's the cheese gonna give me? That was a decent amount, actually. The cupcake was almost nothing. I'll have to try and remember that. Yeah, let's go to the shop. I think I should be safe for now. Ooh, there we go. Got a nice taco. Let me have a... Is that chicken? Yeah, that would be chicken, that'd be ham. I feel like the white bottles were the most filling. And once more to the Super Bowl. It's a pretty nice song. I wonder if the people you get is determined by what song is playing on the cell phone. But no, that wouldn't make any sense because I switched songs from the first to the second one and then from the second to the third and then got the same people I'd seen before. Oh god, this guy again. Oh damn it. It's so hot. I've been on this bus for 2 days already. According to the map, I still have 5 or 6 hours to go. To tell the truth, I am not good at it, and I can be wrong. I just hate buses. And on those rare occasions when I'm forced to go by bus, I pray that some loser does not sit next to me and does not begin talking about everything being bad for him. You don't say. My car is in the car service, so I'm where I am. Funny story. I was going to work in the morning on the highway. Everything was as usual, but that day I got up late. In a hurry, I forgot to go to the toilet at home. I stopped the car, I went on doing my business. Once again, another shit story. I returned, there was no car. I saw several cars and a crowd of people quite far away. When I came closer, I understood the reason. I forgot to use the handbrake and it rolled down the track. Thank God no one was hurt as the car moved to the side of the road and crashed into a tree. People got out of their cars and yelled, "Where is its owner? Where is this idiot?" I also began to scream unhappily. Yes, where is this dumbass? Where is it? Let's wait, he will return. And I waited. People began to leave one by one. They told me that the owner was not going to show up and we might go. Well, I answered like, no, I will wait until the end and you go. When everyone left, I got into the car and drove back home. I told my boss that I got the flu. And while my car is under repair, I have to ride a bus. Apparently, he works 2 days plus from where he works. Or lives, I guess. People find it romantic riding a bus, but I do not see anything good. Like, it's always hot, there's no air conditioning. And when you try to open a window, there must be some old asshole who will scream that it's too cold. It's always shaking, and country music is always on very loud, or, like, weird jazz stuff. I'm going to get crazy and start singing myself. When you leave the bus, you're all sweaty and smelly and feel broken. And how do you manage to sleep in it? This is horribly uncomfortable. And finally, my stop. Goodbye. I will no longer have to sit on these rags. Alright, so far we've had 3 of the same previous people. I didn't lose too much food talking to him. Yeah, it looks like the pizza and the chicken are pretty good. The cookie, I think, is small. I'm gonna go... What's the difference between these? I'm gonna go for a normal-looking burger rather than, like, a Fat Boy burger. And... that one. And swinging by the toilet one more time. And then she.mp3. Come on, somebody new. Ah, damn it. You know, I've always been very fond of philosophy and weird, unexpected meetings. I think this is the chick that met death. What? I'm not small, just short, and I look young. So what was I talking about? Ah, of course. Once I was choosing a new book for myself in a large bookstore. When I entered the philosophy section, there was no one there. This did not seem strange to me. Philosophy is not that popular. Very soon I was hooked by a book by Jim Dobrelard. He was a philosopher and was about to leave. And then a strange-looking man came to me. He was about 60 years old. He was wearing a white suit and had a silvery white beard. Not very long. Right after he appeared in the section, he approached me. "Did not we have a chat?" he asked. "I've studied for 2 years at university and have spoken with a lot of interesting people, and still that man seemed unfamiliar to me. I thought we could have crossed before." "Maybe," I said. And then the man wanted to know whether I was fond of philosophy for a long time, what I specialized in, what kind of thesis my parents wrote, and so on. I was still in disarray, despite the fact that this man was very nice. Then he asked if I was going to continue working at the university, and I, a person quite confident in the impermanence of life, answered him, "It is possible." The old man laughed and replied, "Oh, at your age it's time to know such things. Here, for example, I am sure that tomorrow morning will come." I laughed because I thought he was right and I liked such a life-affirming attitude. "I'm ready to argue. I bet $1 million, he said. $1 million human souls. Then he smiled and headed for the exit from the department. I grabbed the book and rushed after him immediately, but he was neither in the next department nor at all possible turns. I wonder who it could be. Alright, try and quickly make it through this rest stop. Alright, the burgers are very filling. At least the normal shaped burgers. Let's try a fat burger and the white one. You know what? I'm just going to use the toilet anyway, even though I don't really think I have to. And another song change as we continue on the trip. This video is probably going to run a little long. I'm not sure how many... I've forgotten to keep writing down the number of people I've talked to. So I don't know how many different conversations I've had. Somebody new, somebody new. This guy looks new. Do you like what I've done? What have you done, sir? Look carefully. What do you see outside? Alright, a bird just whipped by. Trees. Some of those neat trees that have like little tiny trees kind of growing off them. Rocks, cars. No, I'm not talking about trees. God damn it. Not about the houses. I haven't seen any houses. Not about the cars. How about that tiny rock? I'm talking about roads. I have worked as a road worker for 30 years. I traveled all over the country and laid more than 10,000 kilometers of roads, including the one we are going along now. For most of my life, I worked from morning till night to raise my children to their feet. I rarely saw my kids and did not take part in bringing them up. I learned about my children's achievements, victories, and failures through my wife. It's been a year since... I still cannot get used to this. Sometimes I come home and start telling aloud about what happened during the day, and only after a while I remember that there is no one at home. Sometimes I want to feel her presence again and hear her familiar voice again. I'm calling her phone and I'm listening to answer phone. Oh, that familiar voice. I wanted to bring our children together on the anniversary of her death. Oh, children. They have already grown up, moved to different places. When they are small, you imagine them grown. When they are grown, you imagine them small. By the way, I have 4 children. It is so rare nowadays. 2 boys and 2 girls. The eldest son plays in a musical band. I forgot the name. I remember it's something connected with werewolves. The youngest son is fond of computer games. Daughters are still studying at the universities. They all refuse to gather together. That sucks. Well, they are too busy. All my life they would stay with their mother, and I was almost a stranger to them. Of course, I was very upset at first. I did not smoke for 3 months, but because of this situation, I started again. So after thinking for a while, I decided to visit them myself. Each one separately. Yes, I think you already know why I'm on this bus. The airplane would be faster, but I'm afraid to fly them. And the doctor does not recommend. Blood pressure is unstable. I'll seat next to that open window. That was kind of a sad story. Oh, hey, and there's the end. Yeah, that was kind of a weird, well, maybe not weird, but a very sad story to end things on after the funniness of the repeat story of that guy crashing his car, and then the policeman who saw that one guy's asshole glued shut. But, yeah, as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.